Hello, hello, and welcome back to another great episode on the podcast You Are the Masterpiece, where we keep discovering that we are the work in progress and also we are the masterpieces at the same time. And if this is the first time you are tuning in, welcome to the world of manifestation. And my name is Irina Portnova. I'm a manifestation star because I help you to manifest everything in your life consciously with joy and grace. And today I brought amazing guest, Dr. Yvonne Oswald. Yvonne, just tell us a little bit about yourself and thank you so much for being here with us today.
You're very welcome, Irina. I've been doing this work for 30 or 40 years. My PhD is in clinical hypnosis. I've got a best-selling book out there, which is actually I worked out the other day. 17 years it's been out there. Every word has power, and it's in 11 languages. I started out teaching years ago in England, as you can hear from the accent. And these days, I've written my fourth book, which is due out on May the 14th for 99 cents on Kindle. And it's called No More Therapists, Your Brain Has the Answer, for 99 cents that one day. And I'm literally getting out there. I want to do keynotes again. I want to do my trainings again. I've been stepped back a bit to write the book, and I'm ready to roll.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And today we have a powerful conversation around wealthy mind and wealthy wallet. Let's just dive in and talk more. How does our mind actually connect to our income and our money flow?
Well, the thing is, there are two things that hold you back in life. Number one is limiting beliefs. And you formed all those before you were 7 years old. People telling you, money doesn't grow on trees, you can't have everything you want. And they become embedded so much that as soon as you get near what you want, you back off because your conscious mind has locked down on that idea. And all change and all learning is unconscious. So it's very important that we release two things, the beliefs and the negative emotions. Negative emotions are very easy to release, super easy, actually. I can prove that to you right now. In 1 minute, I'll do a demo with you. And the limiting beliefs, the only reason you know they're there is something's not working in your life. So think about both the negative emotions and limiting beliefs as little black clouds above your head. And the sunshine coming in is the manifestation attempting to come down to you, right? What we need to do is clear those clouds away so that we're in the light of God, we're in the light of manifestation, we're in the light of the universe, so that we can accept everything that comes to us and allow life just to flow with grace and ease. We do tend to self-sabotage when we have a belief in the way. So the first thing to do when you want to manifest money is really remove the beliefs and remove the negative emotions that result from those. Okay.
Right.
And NLP is the best way to do that. I was number 3 in the world in 2024. Hypnosis is lovely. It works nicely, but talk therapy doesn't do anything. Talk therapy, the statistic is, Irina, 38% results after 600 sessions. So doesn't work. With hypnosis, 93% results after 6 sessions. And NLP is even faster. NLP is like immediate. It's amazing. And neuro-linguistic programming, that means.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, you know what? A lot of times people hear and say, okay, I know it and I try it and it didn't work for me. What can you tell to these people?
They're not giving them the brain the right instruction. The program will change given 2 instructions. Number 1, go to the root cause and delete it. Number 2, clear the negative emotion and preserve the positive lessons. Those are the only 2 things it needs to hear. The reason it's still there is either they didn't name it properly. So quite often people say, I'm sad, and they actually mean I'm angry. So depression, for instance, is not what are you depressed about, but who are you angry at? And long-term anxiety has rage at its root. In actual fact, it actually doesn't have anxiety. Anxiety is a future-based emotion. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And hey, Teresa, it's great to see you with us. She's just joining our live saying that she's here with both of us and she wants to see more people and dragons come here. Yes, she makes these amazing connections with dragons.
Oh,
All right.
interesting.
So let's dive in a little bit more. So
Okay.
give us some real life examples from maybe your client's experience and how your work actually helped them.
Well, PTSD is an easy one. I know I had a guy who was in Iraq and he turned around and he watched his friend's head be blown off. And he'd been struggling with it for years. And it took me about half an hour and I cleared it completely. And I'm very spiritual with my work. So once I'd done the NLP clearing of the emotions, so he felt neutral, I then took him up to a temple and got him to meet his friend who died and say, "I'm so sorry. Was it my fault?" And the guy said, "No." He said, "It was meant to be. Just enjoy your life." And he just afterwards he was just totally relieved. Same with sexual abuse. Sexual abuse leaves tremendous scars because it's not about sex; it's about power. So what happens is when you hear someone who's been sexually abused say, "I feel helpless, hopeless," they're actually thinking suicidal thoughts. I always teach my students that those two words, helpless, hopeless, lead to suicidal thoughts. So you have to clear it. And even if it's in the past, I tried to commit suicide at 25, but I'm fine now. You are not fine because if it still triggers, it's still there.
Mhm. All right. Yeah, and Teresa says that her mother-in-law is dealing with PTSD as well.
She can get
So
it triggered, we'll
yeah.
clear it.
Yes. So let's talk again connection, mindset, and money. How does it actually work, right? Because we
Hmm.
know that our thoughts create our reality. So everything stems
Correct.
from the way we think. And
Yeah.
it's simple, but it's not easy because again, our brain constantly functioning on the autopilot and it takes time to rewire our brain for different thoughts and it takes the conscious choice and decision, right? And the tools
No,
that we are
the
using for it.
opposite. It takes the unconscious mind to clear it. If you can say all you like, "I'm successful, I'm rich, I'm whatever," if you've got a limiting belief in the way, it's not going to work. So we have to clear the limiting beliefs, clear the emotions, and then the money will come and land in your lap. And rewiring, you're correct. You have 300 times more brain cells in your mind than there are people on the planet. So once you've rewired your brain and turned it a different way, there's nothing there. You can never get back there. You'll never find your way back there. So in neurolinguistic programming, it's actually about rewiring the brain so that when you want to go to that thought, you go in a different direction and end up here. So you can't access that thing, that either the belief or the emotion anymore. And it's very, very fast.
So tell a little bit more about neurolinguistic because obviously I'm not working with that. I'm working with a
Right?
different modality, and I love my manifestation because it does work like a charm. Because
Yeah.
again, we all have to be conscious of our choices because every choice you are making, even like the choice that I want to work with a professional who can help
Yeah.
me, without making that choice consciously, we cannot actually receive the result because you have to
Correct.
be in permission, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
having their free will. So
Yeah.
without the will, we cannot do anything. We cannot really help a single soul. So first, the person
Exactly.
has to agree to be
Yeah.
helped.
I agree.
Yes.
And
So yeah.
so for instance, John told me that he wanted to quit smoking, and it took him a year to quit smoking. It didn't. It took 1 second to quit smoking. It took him a year to come to the decision that he really wanted.
Vision.
But
Yep.
once the decision's
Mhm.
made, the unconscious mind's like instantaneous.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
So yeah, can you dive a little bit about neuro linguistic plasticity,
neurolinguistic
right?
programming.
That's
Yes,
programming.
in the
Yeah.
1980s, John Grinder and Richard Bandler, Bandler was Grinder's student, they kept saying, "Well, why is it that some people do this work and they get amazing results, and some people do the same things and don't get the results?" So they studied Milton Erickson for hours and hours and hours, and they would say to him, "Why are you watching that lady's ankle?" And he would say, "Because I'm watching to see the heartbeat slow down." And they say, "Why are you looking at that lady's chest?" And he said, "I'm not. I'm watching her shoulder and I'm matching my breathing to hers. So I'm gaining rapport with her on an unconscious level." And he would just tell stories, he would tell metaphors, and they would go and change. And they also watched Virginia Fitzgerald, who was a relationship therapist. So she was doing it for years and years, and she worked out the body language that people actually work with each other in relationships that were supportive or non-supportive. So they studied her. They actually said, we want to get it down to a model. So if we can model it, take the personality out and just model the steps, we should be able to get to the same result every single time. And it actually works. When I'm teaching my class, I will demo an exercise and then tell everybody, just read the script I made for you. It's much easier to do that than say, tell the client to do this, tell the client to do that. And I said, just read the script. And they were all like, wow, this is amazing. It worked. You don't even need to know how it works. It just works if you follow the correct steps. So it's modeling. Tony Robbins actually learned from Richard Bandler and John Grinder, and then they modeled Tony Robbins and his success results. So they made a model of his work to bring into reality. It's a fascinating subject, and it's very easy to do.
So let's connect back to our wealthy mind, wealthy wallet.
Yeah.
How does
Yeah.
it actually work? What
Okay,
is
cool.
something that you've noticed in your experience, in your work, that people are actually, once they up level their mindset, it actually connected them to more money and more wealth?
Right. So here's the thing. They need to believe that on the other side of their hesitation and procrastination, there's something better. Quite often people have opportunities and don't take them. That's the biggest thing, very, very interesting. I look back over the years and think, wow, if I'd just done that, I could have been in a whole different place right now. And it's also connections. It's who you know, not what you know. Now, with your mind, you have to clear out those limiting beliefs that nobody's going to want me, nobody's going to come near me, the professionals aren't going to be interested, etc. So I'm going to show you a very simple NLP technique. Is that we use it for clearing the cravings on potato chips, actually, and it works just as well for emotions, and it's a daily thing, okay? So, Irene, if you want to think about a time you're frustrated. Well, sometime this week, everybody gets frustrated. Yeah? Have you got a time?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
No, my dear, I'm a little bit different. I'm not getting frustrated. I'm more curious. I'm staying
No, in
always on the
this past
curious.
week, or okay, then a bit of sadness and disappointment, same thing. Sadness,
Okay.
and anger together.
Okay.
When you were sad or disappointed this week, ready?
Okay.
Cool. So close your eyes and find where you're holding that sadness and disappointment in your body. A one-time event. Your unconscious mind doesn't work with lots of events. It works with one event. Can you think of that event, where it is in your body,
Yes.
or make up a place? Cool. Excellent. What shape and color is it?
Like dark blue.
Dark blue. What shape?
Cloud.
Sorry?
Cloud.
A cloud shape. Okay. Spin it clockwise or counterclockwise. Which way would it like to go?
Counterclockwise.
Okay. And where are you holding it in your body?
Right in my stomach.
Okay, so pop it out of your stomach and flip it upside down. So now it's going the other way. Now it's it's spinning the opposite way, going clockwise. And then make it a different shape and a different color. What shape and color is it?
Yellow circle.
Yellow circle, cool. Put that yellow circle back in your stomach, lock it in, click your fingers and open your eyes. And now try to go back to that event and try to feel sad and disappointed, and it'll be neutral.
I'm telling you, like all these techniques, again, you have to get your body with that work, because I'm operating a little bit different, right? I have different mechanisms and tools when I'm working for myself and for my client.
Just
And
let
I
me
believe
know whether it's neutral or not.
it was already neutral when I was working with that before. So it's all
Okay.
about, again, like
You
where
have
do we put?
the reason we use the tools is because you've got the triggers, and if you have no trigger, there's no point working
Yes,
with the tools.
it's just reframing everything. The way I look at it, it's reframing the perspective that you are having, and you can actually bring yourself just with the thought. The way I work, just with one thought, you can connect to a different feeling. And
Yes, I
that's
agree.
exactly how like my body operates. Just with the
How
thought,
your body
you
does
connect.
for sure, and everybody else who's in the middle of meltdowns in the middle of the workplace, or they're not work, the communication skills aren't great. You need to, if someone's been not nice to you at work, for instance, you're going to take that with you the whole day. You're going to call your friends and say, you know what she did today, you know what she did today. It's a waste of a time and day. It's a
Yeah,
huge amount of
absolutely.
time wasted, right? So we
Yeah.
want lots of fast techniques that actually get you to the point where you can go into the washroom, do the technique, and go right back without feeling completely neutral about the whole thing.
Right. So
And
connect
that's
us
what
to the
NLP is.
wealthy wallet. How do you do it
Because
in terms of the income?
Okay, so as far as income is concerned, we need to open up multi streams of income these days. Particularly, you've got to have multi streams. You can't just do, otherwise, you're working for hours and money. I know I was on to ChatGPT the other day, and I was saying, how can I increase my income? And it said, so these are the number of clients you need to see in order to make more money. And I was like, I don't want more clients. I want time. It's the time that's important. If you can get the time back, then you get time to get the money. We want at least 3 or 4 streams of multiple income coming in. Real estate is always brilliant. I don't believe in rentals anymore. I've done it for 40 years and it doesn't work. I do believe in buying the right house or right property and then selling it at a profit. That works. Other things work, such as the affiliate marketing, of course. And the thing with something like the network marketing is like Digital 24, for instance. Instead of selling other people's things, you want to put your own course outline on Digistore 24 and offer 50% so other people sell it for you, so you're not having to do anything. That's a really very interesting thing to do. The other things, of course, with your actual wealth, you need to have some equity. You need to have actually a property of some kind or something to actually raise money on. I've got a property that's worth $1 million, and I went to the bank and said I'd like to take out some kind of loan on it. And he said, not unless you can show me fantastic income or you've got a limited liability company. I was like, what? It's worth $1 million. I don't want to sell it, And it's very interesting how you've got to work with the banks, but the banks are very restricted thinking. So, in other words, when you're an entrepreneur, you've got to actually open up those multi streams of consciousness in order to do that. In order to open the streams of consciousness, you need to clear those negative beliefs and limit it and negative emotions. So if you've had an unpleasant experience with money, for instance, from your childhood, and it's all done before you're 7, you know that, right? If we do that if we've got that before we're 7, we have beliefs about money that we can't pay the bills this month or whatever. You'll take those into your adulthood, and people are still carrying around beliefs from years and years ago that they didn't even know they had. So it's a kind of like when on the you've got to have a really good motivation for the money too, not just money for money's sake. On The Biggest Loser, they're 600 pounds or something. They go on The Biggest Loser. They get this fantastic body. You can see they're amazing. And I saw a little clip the other day that showed that most of those people on The Biggest Loser were actually bigger than they were when they first started the show, because the motivation behind it wasn't in a clear direction. It wasn't, the GPS wasn't set properly. It was sent in an away from direction. So they were trying not to get sick or trying not to do this, instead of thinking, right, I want to get slim and healthy so I can live a long time to see my grandchildren. So yeah, your motivation has to have emotions in it too. So if you're doing a job and you don't like it, going for another job just because it's better money, you'll still not like the job. It's about thinking, what are your values? What is it that will excite you about the job? And then going for a different kind of job. And that, once you get there, the money will flow because you'll just be so excited. And every convention you go to, people will be saying, like, you're really amazing, come and work for me. It's about getting that emotion up. Emotion's the survival mechanism. So getting
Mhm.
excited about anything, it will work much faster.
Yeah. So the way I look at it from my perspective, from manifestation perspective, again, we come
Yeah,
back that motivation and emotions are not going to do the work for a long time. It has to be more than what is actually creating the result is decisions and actions that we are taking. And
yeah,
that's why I said it has to be consciously, right? So when you
Yeah.
consciously say for yourself, I do not
Correct.
know how, but I know this is something that I desire in my life. And
Yes.
I am not going to just, give up no matter how long it's going to take. That's exactly what's going to bring these results and stay for them. So when I talk about wealthy mind and wealthy wallet, in
Yeah.
my perception, the way I teach my clients, it all starts from setting your mind, right? You
Yes.
open
I
your
agree.
mind for the possibility, and then
Yes.
you just stay on that frequency of possibility rather than
Mm.
bringing yourself back to your circumstances, to things that, but
Yes.
this does not work, but this is not where I see the change. It's just consciously, again, interrupt that pattern and consciously bring yourself back to
Yes.
the pattern of the thought where everything is working out for you, right? And this
Yes.
is just step by step, because wealthy wallet doesn't show up miraculously. Wealthy
No.
wallet happens when
It
we
takes
set
work.
our mind on the
Yes.
right frequency, and that frequency actually start attract the
Yes.
opportunities for ourselves, right? So a lot of time when we are talking about the reality, right? The way it show up for people, it's they say you have to be in the right time in the right place. That's exactly how frequency works. When we
Yes.
are
I
setting
agree.
our mind on a specific frequency thought, that thought actually connects to the way we are feeling, because
Yes.
we are not feeling frustrated. We are actually feeling, even if it's neutral, even if it's just staying in the curiosity wavelengths, right? So we are actually open to receive the information that comes
Correct.
to us from multiple sources, and we do
Yeah.
not know exactly how it's going to show up for us, right? And from
Yeah.
that information, we actually open it up. And again, the way to open up is being in the right room, being in the right environment, and have the amazing guidance, right? Because
I
again,
agree.
if we are just wishing for something, if we are using
No,
just
wishing
some
doesn't work.
rituals,
You have to take
it's not
action.
working, it's not gonna
No.
work. So
Mm.
everything has to be in congruence, right? Talking about
Yes.
our thoughts connecting to our emotional state, because from that state we are taking completely different actions as we would have taken if, like, we were not believing in what we are doing, right? And again,
Yeah.
these actions are going to produce the results. And every step, a lot of time people just overthink and they're just sitting and saying,
Yes.
I am not sure
Exactly.
this is the right step. There is no such a thing as right or wrong step. Every
I
step,
agree.
every movement we are taking is actually going to open up something for us. So clarity
So
comes from action.
can I just add something to that?
Yes.
Um, when you do that procrastination, when you do that, I can't, I'm waiting. What happens is you've not actually visualized the end result, and you've got to have a long-term goal, which is you're a year or two ahead or 5 years ahead. Bring it back to the first step. So we take the first step, and then, like you say, you've got the right vibration around. So the
Mhm.
ideal way to do it is to actually imagine a year ahead or 5 years ahead, what do I want my life to be like? So what I do with my clients is I say, oh my gosh, I've not seen you for a year. What's
Yeah.
been happening? You look amazing. And I actually record it, and they use the present tense. Oh, I'm in a wonderful house. I've changed my job. I've got a fabulous relationship now. My family's really getting on well. And they actually get that excitement around. So they've got a package of really fantastic feelings. And of course, you can use the Hawaiian technique of blowing energy into it. You raise above that picture, blow 4 breaths into it to give it life. Turn around to now and ask your unconscious mind to align the events to support all your needs have been met. What happens then is you're drawing a line from now to the future, and that future is already there. So anytime you take a step forward, you're already moving in the right GPS direction.
Yeah.
Just taking action for action's sake is there's no point in that at all.
I love that. And Giovanni, welcome. We are happy to see you with us. So, what I wanted to add as well, that there is no such a thing as future past. There is only present.
No,
So,
that's
if
right.
we
I agree.
connect just to the present, because every breath we are taking, we are actually creating in the present moment, right?
Yeah,
So, when
correct.
we are just connecting ourselves with the future, it's actually our mind does not actually have know the distinguish between real and imaginary, right?
Correct.
Because when we
Correct.
are reading the books, when we are watching the movies, why do
Yes.
we start getting emotional? This is just the movie, right? Because
Yes.
again, our brain does not see the difference. So that's exactly what
Exactly.
we are doing, right? We are
Yeah.
connecting to our possibility rather than
Yes.
just sitting in the current circumstances, and we do not
Yes.
really allow the circumstances to dictate what is possible for us.
Yes, and anxiety is the big 21st century thing that's happening. And anxiety is a future based emotion, it's not a past. You've got anger, sadness, fear, guilt, and they're past emotions. They can be cleared really easily with the NLP, with hypnosis. The future based anxiety about what will happen if, the dread of what's going to happen, that's what holds us in procrastination. Now, if you plant a future memory of you being super happy and a happy ending, there's no reason to have anxiety. It goes away immediately.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and it's
Yes.
like when I teach stage presentation, where you get the stage fright is before you go on the stage. It's standing there in the wings thinking, oh, everybody's going to laugh at me. This is not going to be fun at all. So what I do is actually get them to the center of the stage, and everybody in the class or audience or whatever, they literally say, thank you very much. And the people stand up and clap and cheer and go and shake the hand and say, you changed my life today. And it's amazing. And they're just like beaming, even though they didn't actually do a class, teach a class. And then I say, go ahead and try and find the anxiety. And they'll say, I'm really excited about doing stage presentations now. So you take them to the happy ending, the end result, then come back to the present, and there's no emotion there anymore.
Yeah, I feel it's more like teaching people to stay on the right thought, because that
Yeah,
thought is going to trickle everything
correct,
down, right?
correct,
And
exactly.
again, if we are staying in our conditions and saying, but my bank account is reflecting this much, or but my
Yeah,
business is not as successful as I desire, if we constantly connect to that thought, we are
yeah,
going to have more evidence of course, this is your bank account. Of course, you can't jump
yeah.
more than that. Of course, your business is not growing, right? So all it takes for us consciously to choose a different thought and say, even though my current circumstances may be X, but it doesn't mean that I can't tap to Y. And the way I tap to Y, I'm just, standing on that thought. What are the ways that I can generate more revenue at this current moment, right? What are the places I can go to, right? What are the people I can meet? Because this is something nobody was training us how to do. And now
Yes,
we
networking is
learn.
huge. Networking
Yes,
is huge.
exactly. And we are learning to make these, requests, these asks, and
Yeah,
we are making these quality of questions, because the quality of the questions we are asking are going to determine the quality of the answers we're starting to receive, right?
yes. And if you say thank you at the beginning, not at the end, that also opens up your mind. If you say
Wow.
thank you, I received today some amazing surprises of money, love, happiness, and joy. And if you start saying thank you before you say what you want, the unconscious mind goes, what? It likes something new. It likes things that are different. And I think it was Richard Bandler said, if you set a goal and you don't have issues coming up straight away, your goal wasn't set high enough.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because
Yeah,
again, the people are so scared to fail.
yeah,
But the
I
only
know.
way you do not fail is when you are not trying. And that's why people
Exactly.
are just sitting in the comfort zone and not really doing anything, because
Exactly.
it's safe there,
Exactly.
right? But what's the
And
point
and
of life
and,
if we
and the
are not
opposite,
growing?
Irina, the opposite is the fear of success. People think if I'm too successful, I won't have time to spend with my grandchildren. I won't have time to do this. I won't have time for vacation. They don't realize that the more money you have, the more people you can help. And
Yeah.
that was a real wake up call for me years ago. Was wow, I didn't realize that. I never thought of it like that. The more money I have, the more people I can help. The more I can travel. The more I can teach. The more I can actually open up people's lives. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
so
important.
true. So true. And Teresa, it's all about connecting with that thought that, like I am abundant being. Because the fact is the fact, but the truth is that we are all infinite beings, right? Having so much potential in ourselves. But a lot of times people are sitting in a comfort zone unless something drastic is happening. And then they
Yes.
start moving, right? Because again, if you ask somebody saying, do you want to have more money? Yes, I do want to have money. But what are you willing to do for it, right? That's the
Yes. Yes.
question that really is going to discover if the person is serious about what they want, right? Are you
Yes.
willing to grow? Are you willing to try? Are you willing to partner with somebody who can show you the shortcut, right?
And
So that's exactly.
those are the 20% of people. 40% of people are away from motivated. They're trying not to get sick. They're trying not to get bankrupt. They're trying not to get that. Those aren't the kind of people we want to work with, because they'll resist every possibility. The 40% of people who are towards, they're already making money. They're already thinking positive. They're already making the connections. The 20% in the middle of that for life coaches, for any kind of executive life coach, are the ones in those 20% who are sometimes less away from, sometimes towards. Those are easy to get over the 50% line towards towards getting what they want. The other ones, if you've got a lot of stuff wrong with you, like cancer or something, and then you say, people say, "Oh, I'll have fun when I get rid of this cancer," and I'm like, "But you can't get rid unless you have fun. It's got to be you. The fun comes first. The opening,
Yes,
the
you
joy
got to
comes
be in
first,
that state.
and that will just raise your vibration, so that disappears."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So Teresa says that she was dealing with collection nightmares in the past, but I didn't have my credit hurt at all. That thanks goodness for that. You know what? Any situation, it's all about how we look at it. And any situation is plastic unless we start pulling the emotions to that. So there
Yeah.
is no get good or bad unless we define that situation, right? So just remember that if there is a problem, there is always a solution, right?
Yes.
So if
Exactly.
we, and the more we are tapping with our mind, what can I do? What steps can I take? Who can I talk to, right? Because a lot
Yeah.
of times we want to solve in silence because this is what society was teaching us, that, like we are so independent. We can do everything ourselves. We do not show our weakness. And that's where we are depriving ourselves from the answers, from the guidance, from the help,
Yeah.
right? So the
And
idea
remember
is,
that 80% of your thoughts are negative. You've only got 20% positive, 80% negative. My job is to get those thoughts so that they change. And it's just the word you used, like problem, like hard, like difficult. If you clear those words out of your vocabulary, that was what my first book was about. So hard is, if you can say it's not easy, your unconscious mind only goes for the keyword. It doesn't go for the
Mhm.
not. It doesn't understand negatives. In the corporate world, they use words like cutthroat, uh, the cutting edge, and it's like, wow, why would you use words like that? They use words like not essential is the word to use. Critical. It's critical that we do this. Why would you even use that word? Because it brings up
Mhm.
images from the unconscious mind that are
Yeah.
life moving. If you can change the actual keyword you use, you're using the prefrontal cortex, not living in your limbic brain. It actually raises your vibration really a lot. When I teach a class, we use the switch game. So everybody gets 20 coins, like plastic coins, gold. And if they use a low energy word, so that's really bad. Someone says switch, they have to give a coin, and the other person says, "Oh, it's not very good." Because the unconscious mind picks up the word good. And 5-year-olds are very like that. When you say don't touch that, the 5-year-old is going to touch it because it hears the word
Yeah.
touch. It's the key word only. And the word don't has to be removed completely from your vocabulary. Even if talking to your people at work, in the corporate, they'll do a review of someone and they'll tell them a couple of things that's right and then everything that's not right. And we're programmed that way. Oh, your room looks great, but you missed a bit in the corner over there. What we need to do is the feedback sandwich. So you say what you love about the person. I'm really glad you're with our company. You've been really contributing well. What I would like you to do is make sure that you get to work on time. Make sure that you put more effort in. Make sure that you talk to so and so and join every management meeting. And altogether, it's very nice to have you in the company. If you can sandwich what you want to, if you want to say the word criticize or feedback, what happens is they don't hear the negative, they come out feeling positive. And there's a lot of neurolinguistic programming techniques that actually teach you how to make people feel good instead of leaving them feeling like, oh, I didn't do well. Especially with kids, especially too, when you're speaking to children.
Yeah. So true. It's all like understanding that each word carries frequency. Like it's interesting
Yeah,
because you teach from one modality, Dr. Yvonne, I'm teaching from other, and it's nice, because it's kind of
yeah,
complementing. So the
it is.
way like I always share with the clients that every word we are using having the frequency, and there
Exactly.
are a lot of low frequency words, and now we want to replace them with the high frequency words, right?
High energy
And
words, yeah.
yes. And again, we want to train our mind to do it consciously until it just, like showing up. It's like,
Correct.
when even the person says, I am okay, to me, it's like, well, you can actually say something better than that, right?
Yeah,
And it's all about just training our brain what to do
exactly.
it. And
Everything's fine today. I mean, I know I lived in Canada for 30 years, and every time it snowed, people would say, oh, be careful, watch this. And even when the person leaves the house driving, we're still sending the thoughts about, oh my God, I hope they don't. And all you have to do is think, you know what? You drive safely. You're a really good driver. You'll get there safely. And when they leave, you send them love and light. You've raised the vibration, so it raises your vibration too. And suddenly you've got a whole different outcome. It's
I love
very,
that.
even going into an exam. When I used to have my daughter, and they were going in for interview auditions and things, and people would say, "Oh, don't worry," and she used to literally do this because she knew all about the words. And I just said, "You'll be fine." I said, "You've got this one." And it's
Mhm,
really
mhm.
you've got to switch around the way you speak in order to raise that vibration too. It's not just about your thoughts; it's about your the physical word you use. And you can
Mhm.
actually do it by getting like a play friend, like a friend or someone who sees you every day, and say, every time you hear me say a low energy word like bad, difficult, hard, would you please say switch or puppy dog, so that I know I'm saying it, because people just aren't aware. They'll say to me, oh yeah, I'm really positive I don't need to do this game. And the next day you hear switch, switch, switch. And they actually say at the end of the day, I had no idea how many words I was using. None, not a clue. And it's becoming aware of what's actually coming out of your mouth, what you're saying to a child, what you're saying to a coworker, what you're saying to someone who you're giving feedback to at work.
Yeah, so totally. So basically, we are coming to conclusion that mindset is actually once we're setting our mind on
Yes.
something, it
Yeah.
actually applies to every area of our life, no matter what
Every
we are
area.
doing. Health,
Yeah.
relationships, love, the wealth, right? So the
Yeah.
idea is we are training our mind to connect to possibility rather than to connect to the fact.
Correct. Correct.
And the more we learn how to use the tools, the more and again, it's very important. If you want to have more income, more
Yeah.
flow in money, you want to connect with the people that are actually
Yeah.
already having that, right?
You
So
do.
talking about communities, talking about coaches, talking about
Yes.
somebody who already vibrating on that frequency, so you
Yeah.
can actually easily connect into that. And
Yeah.
this is exactly where the energies start really talking to each other, and that's when you see, because again, together we are so much more powerful. And when you are in
Yes.
the right environment, not
Yeah.
around the people who are saying it's impossible, because if you're
Yes.
staying with the people who are saying it's impossible, it's not going to happen for you, right? You gotta
And
be
if
in the
you
right
just let
places.
me answer that. If you a lot of people are setting up new businesses and they spend a fortune on putting a website up, just go to someone famous's website and copy it. Oprah Winfrey's got a fabulous website. Jack Canfield. If you're whatever your career you're in, you go to someone else's website and take some ideas from that. They paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for it. Why would you pay them?
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't you
Totally.
just model their ideas? Even the colors are really important too. So make sure that you're modeling well. It's very important, because I always say too, I'm not keen on a gratitude book. because I started a gratitude book, and at the end of every day I was saying, I'm glad this day's over. I'm still breathing. It was always focused on what wasn't. And then what I do now is an accomplishment book. So with all my students, I say you get an accomplishment book at the end of every day. You write down 3 things that you did well. I posted a letter. I managed to send the email I wanted to. This has been great because I did my 10 minutes exercise. What it does, it closes the day so you don't take your to-do list into the next day or into your sleep, which is where it shouldn't be. It literally, completion creates calm. So completing things, which is what people tend never to end up doing because they've got so many lists to do. If you just have completed this, I've completed that, I've completed that, the unconscious mind goes, great, we accomplished something. That's awesome. And you wake up the next day feeling fresh and ready for the day instead of, oh my God, I remember now what I've got to do. There's none of that. It's just like you wake up with a blank head. It's nice.
So true. And again, it's all about training our mind to the point when
Yeah.
you don't even have to use the journal, right?
Exactly.
And it
It's
just
only
like it
21 days and you're good to go.
exactly, it's going just like that connection when have such a power in your thought that you are
Yes.
thinking of something, and then the opportunity presented, right? Because
Yeah.
now I know when I'm just thinking about something that I want to do in the near future, and all of a sudden I start receiving the answers through the social media or somebody's
Yeah.
conversation. So again, like these synchronicities start happening for you because
Correct.
once you already train your mind for that, that is
Yeah.
exactly what's happening, right? So it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
It's
the
beautiful.
overthinking you were talking about before, what the 2 best things to do when you wake up in the morning are breathing, a box breath, 4 in, hold for 4, 4 out, hold for 4, just do 5 or 6 times, because you're in the state of alpha when you wake up. You're in that lovely zone of where anything's possible. You do your 4 box breathing, and then I got people to get a list of 21 happy songs, and you put a happy song on immediately as you even cleaning your teeth or having your breakfast. What it does,
Mhm.
it sets you up so that when you start overthinking, you suddenly get a song come into your head instead. And
I love that.
it just acts as a break state. And you, with 21 songs, it's like a playlist. It just picks a song and eventually will, but it's a different one every day. If you do the same one every day, you'll end up just singing it all day in your head. It'll set up a loop. So we want a different happy song every day for 21 days. And after that, you'll find as soon as you start overthinking, this happy song will click in.
Beautiful,
It's very good
beautiful.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, such a powerful conversation. And
Yeah.
Giovanni and Teresa, thanks so much for joining. And I trust you elevated yourself for just like listening to the conversation. And all
Yeah.
it takes is just to change the perspective of how
Yes.
we look at the things, and then like these things become like more manageable, or we start like really seeing something great, right? So
Yes.
that's how it is. This is so beautiful, right? And
Yeah.
Yvonne, just tell something that you want people to remember when from our conversation. Something like 1 or 2 points that you want to for them to preserve beyond this podcast.
The best thing to remember is your future. If you can actually literally write down in a book, use your physical hand to write what's happening this time next year, it literally means that today is irrelevant. If you knew you had $1 million in the bank this time next year, would you be concerned about paying an electric bill? No. It's really interesting. So yes, it's staying in the present and making sure you've got that future hook already there, because it will bring it right to the present and make you feel good.
Absolutely. Loved it.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much, everybody who tune in live, or if you're watching the replay, please comment replay and share it with somebody who you feel can benefit from this conversation. Because
Yeah.
again, we are here to uplift each other, and we are here to grow together and evolve together. And
Yeah.
just these conversations are opening up something for you, or something new for you. It expands your consciousness, and it connects you to the possibilities. So you'll see
It does.
how the events are going to start play out in your life. And Dr.
Yeah.
Yvonne, thank you so much for this beautiful conversation.
Thank
And
you, Irina.
everybody, See you on the next episode. Bye now.
Bye.